Hello everyone, this is Sanadsk and welcome to the first Dark Souls 3 boss strategy guide. Today I'm going to be covering the Abyss Watchers, the first Lord of Cinder that you're going to be encountering in the game. This boss's environment, music and lore is very amazing. As the lore, it talks about the blood of the wolf which was spread amongst the Abyss Watchers, and their souls are one with the soul of the Wolf Blood Master, or the Wolf Knight. And the Wolf Knight is the first Abyss Watcher, and I think we all know who the first Abyss Watcher was, which is Artorias, the boss from Dark Souls 1, which is one of my favorite characters of all time. And you'll find that this boss is like very similar to Artorias in a way. It shares its dexterity and his agileness and all that. So this boss is going to be some kind of nostalgic for the people who have played the DLC of Dark Souls 1. So without further ado, let's get for the preparation of the boss. Now this boss can be tackled by two ways. The first one is by dodging all of his attacks and learning his attack patterns, which I'm going to be showing you all of his moves in this video, or that you can use a great shield, but you can't just tank the boss, you can't just keep blocking because he is going to stagger you in the end, so you need to mix up between rolling and dodging his attacks and using the shield. Now in the area before the Farron's Keep you can find the Twin Dragon Great Shield, which is one of the lightest, if not the lightest, Great Shield in the game, and it doesn't need very high stat requirements, so it will do you very good in this boss fight and it will make it much easier for you, but as I said, you need to mix between rolling and using the shield. Also, if you have fire resistance gear like armor or something like that, it will be also very helpful for the second phase, because he gets a fire buff on his weapon and it's going to be very beneficial for you. And now let's get on to the strategy. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about this boss is his attack patterns, because it's the most important thing in the boss as it is shared between phase 1 and phase 2. First, I want to talk about the moves that you are going to be using as an advantage to hit the boss and actually get a backstab on him, which is going to be the main focus of all this boss. But first, I want to tell you, if you want to roll in this boss, roll either right or backwards. Never, and I mean never roll to the left, because most of his attacks, if not all, hit to his right, and you need to roll in the opposite direction, which is to your right. And this is most effective in phase 2 because he has fire effect on his sword and most of his attacks hit to his right, so you will need to roll to your right. The first is when he does a thrust and then he does a combo and then he does a spin. Now you need to time your roll perfectly, as when you do it, when you roll and you get actually behind him, you simply get behind him and then it's an easy backstab. Now when you backstab him, now this is for all the backstab that you're going to be doing. When you backstab, you hold your R2 button to hit him with a charged heavy attack and then another R2 to hit him with a heavy attack. Now for my case, I'm using the Earthil Straight Sword, and this works for any straight sword and also for the other weapons. If you are using an Ultra Great Sword, let's say, maybe you want to hit him with a normal R2 because its charge takes much time and maybe he'll be already getting up. Next is when he attacks and then he does another attack and then he smashes his sword onto the ground. Now there's another variation of this where he attacks and then he does a spin and then he smashes, or like jumps up and does a smash. Now for this one, like same as before, you need to roll backwards to avoid the first initial 2 hits, and then when he wants to do the smash, you roll and get behind him and same thing, backstab, charge R2 and then normal R2. There's also the sliding attack. Now in the first phase it isn't very hard to avoid, but in the second phase it's because when he does this slide, he leaves a trail of fire behind him, and this is like the most attack that might hit you. But if you roll to the right before he initiates the slide, because of the lock on when he slides, like when you roll to the right, it appears that you have rolled to the left, but in fact you have rolled to the right, and the attack would just be on the other side and you would avoid it like perfectly, and you won't be even close to it. Now do not depend on this attack to attack him, because like you might not be getting behind him, so use the other attacks I mentioned before. He also does a sudden jump attack, and you want to use this attack to backstab him as well. It is very common, and if you have very quick reflexes, like as soon as you see him do it, just roll towards him and you are going to be avoiding it and you basically get a free backstab. Now, the strategy remains the same for the entire fight. The only thing that's going to be bugging you in the first phase is when other Abyss Watchers appear. Now, when other Abyss Watchers appear, what you need to be doing is as soon as you see another Abyss Watcher, run away. Literally, just run away and wait for a third Abyss Watcher to appear. Now, when a third one appears, you need to be targeting the boss and try to get behind the boss, as he, like one of the following, he might be focusing on you, just use the previous strategies I mentioned, or he's going to be focusing on another Abyss Watcher, which makes this pretty much easier for you, that you can just simply get behind him and hit him or backstab him or whatever you want to do to attack him. Keep following the attack patterns and how to avoid him, and keep hitting him until you triumph over this boss. Now, with the soul of the boss, you can actually create two weapons. One is the Wolf Knight's Greatsword, which is Artorias' Greatsword basically. And another super amazing epic Ultra Greatsword, which has the greatest and most amazing combo of all time. It has the best weapon art. Like, on the left you have a dagger that you can parry with, and on the right, when you use the weapon art, is just an amazing spin. Like, it kicks Artorias' ass when using those attacks. And it's weird that it's an Ultra Greatsword. That's like what's the good thing about it. It's an Ultra Greatsword, which means like kind of slow attacks, but with this one it's like so much agile, and it's super amazing. Like, I just can't like wait to play PvP with this weapon. And yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. Now make sure to tune in for other boss strategy guides, because the other bosses are much more complex than this one, which means the guides would be much more deeper and would have more depth from the data and attack patterns, and also better strategies. So I guess I'll see you later. Bye.